Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Sata Sisimat Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Yanitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaja Shakshurum Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitan Yena Bhutale Swayan Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the 9th canto, third chapter, text 10. Sukanya Chyavanam Prapya Sukanya Chyavanam Prapya Patim Paramakopanam Patim Paramakopanam Prinayam Asachittagyam Prinayam Asachittagyam Apramatta Nuvrittibihi Apramatta Nuvrittibihi Sukanya Chyavanam Prapya Patim Paramakopanam Prinayam Asachittagyam Apramatta Nuvrittibihi. Bolo. Chyavanam prapya Patim paramakopanam Prinayamassa chittagyam Apramatta nuvrittibihi Sukanya chyavanam prapya Paramakopanam Sukanya Chavanam Prapya Patim Paramakopanam Prinayam Asachittagya Apramata Nuvrittibihi. Vaishnavis. Patim Paramakopanam Prinayam Asachittagya Apramata nuvrittibihi Sukanyam chavanam prapya Patim paramakopanam Prinayam asachittagyam Apramata nuvrittibihi Sukanya chavanam prapya Patim paramakopanam Prinayam asachittagya Matanuvrittibihi. Sukanya, the girl named Sukanya, the daughter of King Shariati. Chyavanam, the great sage Chyavanamuni. Prapya, after obtaining. Patim, as her husband. Paramakopanam, who was always very angry. Prinayam asa, she satisfied him. Chittagya, understanding the mind of her husband. Apramatta anuvrittibihi, by executing services without being bewildered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Chyavanam Muni was very irritable, but since Sukanya had gotten him as her husband, she dealt with him carefully, according to his mood. Knowing his mind, she performs service to him without being bewildered. This is quite an important purport. So please listen carefully. This is an indication of the relationship between husband and wife. A great personality like Chavana Muni has the temperament of always wanting to be in a superior position. Such a person cannot submit to anyone. Therefore, Chavana Muni had an irritable temperament. His wife, Sukanya, could understand his attitude, and under the circumstances, she treated him accordingly. If any wife wants to be happy with her husband, she must try to understand her husband's temperament and please him. This is victory for a woman. Even in the dealings of Lord Krishna with his different queens, it has been seen that although the queens were the daughters of great kings, they placed themselves before Lord Krishna as his maidservants. However great a woman may be, she must place herself before her husband in this way. That is to say, she must be ready to carry out her husband's orders and please him in all circumstances. Then her life will be successful. When the wife becomes as irritable as the husband, their life at home is sure to be disturbed or ultimately completely broken. In the modern day, the wife is never submissive, and therefore home life is broken even by slight incidents. Either the wife or the husband may take advantage of the divorce laws. According to the Vedic law, however, there is no such thing as divorce laws, and a woman must be trained to be submissive to the will of her husband. Westerners contend that this is a slave mentality for the wife. But actually it is not. It is the tactic by which a woman can conquer the heart of her husband, however irritable or cruel he may be. I'll read the sentence again. Westerners contend that this is a slave mentality for the wife, but factually it is not. It is the tactic by which woman can conquer the heart of her husband, however irritable or cruel he may be. In this case, we clearly see that although Chavana Muni was not young, but indeed old enough to be Sukanya's grandfather, and was also very irritable, Sukanya, the beautiful young daughter of a king, submitted herself to her old husband and tried to please him in all respects. Thus, she was a faithful and chaste wife. Hare Krishna. So Chavana Muni, it seems almost that he had made the arrangement that Sukanya will, hurt this worm so that he could get her in marriage. It appears like that, anyway. But in any case, it was like a bad match, right? Sukanya was a very young princess. She was very beautiful. And Chavana Muni was old. He could hardly walk. He needed assistance to walk. His veins in his body were all prominent. So you can imagine the situation that Sukanya was placed in. But the emphasis in this verse is given on what is the proper behavior of a chaste wife. What are the duties of a wife? So generally, this could be misinterpreted, could be misused, and it has been misused. But this is how the woman should look at this. That the woman, the position of the man is by nature's arrangement to be in a superior position. They're physically stronger, they are the providers. Women are dependent on men. Men can remain single if we want, but a woman to remain single will not be so conducive for her. So by nature's arrangement, the position of a man is put in a superior position. Yet we should understand that this superior and inferior doesn't mean that the man is better than the woman. It means it's just the way it is. Like you have different things, they have different natures. Like a melon has a particular flavor, and a pomegranate has a particular flavor. You cannot change it. So similarly, man's nature is to be in a superior position, and the position of the woman is to be in a submissive position because it's in an inferior situation. Of course, as Prabhupada points out in the purport, modern Western civilization may rebel against this idea. And in fact, we're hearing how they're trying to make society genderless now. But we don't care so much about these people, and the fact is that the result of not following this in the Western world, we have seen that what do you call that? What's the word that? The family institution is very much disappearing in many places, Prabhupada quotes in one purport that 99.9% of families in the Western world, they are dissatisfied. And the family values are greatly decreasing in the West particularly, because people are not following these principles. So as I said, it's not that women is less by doing this, it's that if women want to get what they want, that's how they get it, by being submissive. And it's applicable even outside of marriage. Whenever you have someone who is in a superior position, then the way to conquer them is by being submissive. We have multiple examples of this. I was just thinking of when Vasudeva was on his way to his home after his wedding, and the omen came and Kamsa was about to kill his wife. Vasudeva didn't start to fight against Kamsa, saying, "You're fool, how can you do this?" He was submissive. He said, you're very intelligent, you shouldn't. And by being submissive, he gave advice. Similarly, we find that Krishna is the most powerful personality. He's a supreme person, right? But yet, Prabhupada said, in one lecture, Prabhupada was saying, there is no one greater than Krishna. And then from a moment he stopped and said, well, actually, yes, there is one more person greater than him. Who is that? Srimati Radharani, But and how does he conquer? How does she conquers him? Through selfless service. Through selfless service. Similarly, how do we conquer Krishna? Through selfless service. And generally, here we could apply these principles for non-devotees and for devotees. But for devotees, it's even more kind of relevant and easy in one's way to apply. That, yes, actually, I should be willing to sacrifice my own desires for the purpose of pleasing my partner. Because it applies, we're now focusing on the ladies' side for the time being. We'll touch upon the men's side. But again, the principle being made, clearly, we have to establish is that, women are in an inferior position in that sense, And if they want the marriage to work, if they want to control their husbands and to get their husbands to do what they want, the way to do it is by pleasing the husband with a submissive, subservient attitude. Now, what does this mean? Like Prabhupada is saying, it doesn't mean that the wife becomes a slave to the husband. But it means that the nature, the husband is like the breadwinner, you could say, generally in a traditional role. And when he comes back, she should be willing to serve him as a menial servant, keep the house clean, look very beautiful, speak sweet words, and please the husband. And it's nothing wrong with doing this. Actually, the nature of the woman, we're talking of the nature of the man is to be in a superior position, but the nature of the woman is to follow and to search for protection. Women wants to be protected. Their main reason for marriage and for their security is actually security. They're looking for security. So in order to get the best side of her husbands, they have to behave like this. Some ladies may be cringing here. I don't know. Maybe you are all wonderful devotees. Living in Mayapur, we're more into the Vedic way of being. We will be presenting these points, modern Western audience, it will be more difficult. But still, if it's presented like in a nice way, because Prabhupada, I was looking at different quotes, so that to get a balanced understanding of what Prabhupada is saying. And it's not imbalance. It's not, this is the duty of the wife. What about the duty of the husband? That's something else. We'll talk, as I said, we'll mention. The husband has to act in a way that the lady will want to act like Sukanya. Now, I find particularly inspiring all pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam because they give us very, very extreme situations, right? So in one sense, to give us no excuse. Like we have, Parikshit Maharaj being cursed. It was unfair. It was injustice. But he didn't complain. He did the course, and he did the right thing. We have so many examples in the Bhagavatam of people who are put under extreme conditions, and they do the right thing. So we here have the example of Sukanya. It's a very extreme situation. You have a princess, young, beautiful, accustomed to live comfortably, and she's married to this old, grumpy man, because it's plain, the word in Sanskrit is given there. It says, Parama Kopanam, who was always very angry. So no was he only like ugly and old, but on the top he was, old, and he was, angry and irritable. Now, what was her consciousness? Because we're not expecting this from any woman nowadays. It's too much, right? I don't think there is many Sukanyas living presently. But yet the principle is there that, she had, first of all, she had accepted her situation, And this brings to the point that why do we get married in the first place? That's what I was saying for devotees. In one sense, it's more easy to understand. Because why do we get married? What is the purpose of marriage? In the Western world, is to enjoy, to have a happier life. But for us to get married, we get married because we want to become better devotees. Actually, that's, we want to go back home, back to Godhead. And we want to become the better version of ourselves. Needless to say that those who get married, they need to get married. So there are desires there to be fulfilled, but we fulfill those desires with the purpose of pleasing Krishna. And in fact, whatever we're doing, our family life is an offering to Krishna. We want to please Prabhupada. There's so much need of good grihastas in the movement. It's being a lot of casualties, unfortunately. And a lot of the casualties had been caused by misusing this type of statements, women should be submissive, and so the man memorized this. Okay, so whenever the wife is not being submissive, then he blames on her. Marriage, this. How can we work? How can I'm working hard all day and come back, and you're just complaining that I don't give you enough time. This usual thing. So the purpose of marriage is to go back home, back to Godhead, to assist each other spiritually. So when we understand, when we put Krishna in the center of our activities, like Sukanya did. Sukanya did this. She accepted her situation, and she acted according to her duty. And it's such a foreign kind of concept for many of us born in a Malaysia culture, that actually if we want to be happy, if we want to be satisfied in life, we achieve this by pleasing Krishna, and the best way to do this is by following our duty. When we follow our duty in Krishna consciousness, even though it may be very difficult, the mind becomes satisfied and becomes, peaceful. However, when we actually follow the dictates of our minds and we act selfishly, then what happens is that we become restless and dissatisfied. And it becomes very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness. So this is an extreme example. She accepted her will, and she was able to control her husband. Because if you look now in the following verses, what was the result of her behavior? She controlled Shravana Muni. Shravana Muni wanted to become a young man again. She controlled the Asvini Kumaras. Her father came. And her father thought that she had given up her husband, but actually no, she was controlling the situation. It's like they say, if the wife, because it's the nature of the man to want to give protection. So like Prabhupada explains elsewhere in the Bhagavatam that, in a purport, that the wife, when she is protected, she becomes the source of auspicious energy for the man. So now look, we can shift now to the man's duty. So what is the duty of the man? The man's duty is to give the wife protection and to make her feel secure, to make her feel, to provide her with whatever she needs, to make her happy. And when the wife is happy, it's very easy to act like Sukanya, right? So the principle is here that she was successful even with a grumpy husband. Of course, Shravana Muni wasn't fallen. He was just old, and irritable. But he was a great personality. So she served him properly, and then she ultimately got her desires fulfilled. So what if we do the right thing with a husband who is nice? What will be the result? Will be much better. So then the duty of and then, as I said, the husbands should not think by reading these statements that a wife is my servant. This is the misconception. Sometimes when we speak like this, it's like the devotees get upset. I become really surprised, when we say, well, actually the husband should serve the wife, should make her happy, and should fulfill her desires, and some devotees become very upset. But actually, Prabhupada very clearly explains in many different places how what are the duties of the husband. And I'll read a few quotes from Bhagavatam, because this is very relevant. And okay. Actually, a woman, this is not Prabhupada, actually the woman is supposed to be the energy of the man. He's paraphrasing from Prabhupada. Okay, here it is. No, this is Prabhupada himself. He says, when thus protected, women as a class remain as an always auspicious source of energy to man. Elsewhere, a chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service. The pure devotees, who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of the heart, bring me under their full control. This is Krishna speaking. Okay. Some of the quotes. He says, there is no difference between a good wife and good intelligence. A faithful wife is supposed to cooperate with her husband in fulfilling all material desires, so that he can then become comfortable and execute spiritual activities for the perfection of life. Another one. A successful Krishna-conscious marriage is not for sensual satisfaction. It is a duty performed in mutual cooperation for spiritual and maturity, for spiritual advancement. So Prabhupada's perspective wasn't just that the lady should, like this situation is extreme, that the lady should, just serve the husband, and we men should just not care and be a bit like Shavana Muni. But Prabhupada's instructions to the men was that we should behave in such a way to make it very easy for the ladies to behave like Sukanya. And how do we do it? How do we do this? By giving her security. The lady must feel very secure in the marriage. And so this is, is by giving security means also giving her affection. There is a nice section in the Bhagavatam, like it says that all the wives of Krishna, they felt that Krishna was a henpecked husband controlled by each one of them. Of course, we know that Krishna was not henpecked, and we're not promoting that a man should become henpecked in the wives of a woman. But she should feel, externally, that he is subordinate to, he will do anything for her, even though the man is still in control. So a henpecked husband, for example, a bad example of a henpecked husband is, in this case, Maharaj Uttanapad, with the case of Dhruva Maharaj, right? Dhruva Maharaj, he was he tried to jump on the lap of Suruchi, and Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaj, and he wasn't courageous enough to chastise his wife there in front, because he was henpecked, controlled by his wife. But still, the point, and what it means to be to actually, when we're saying that Krishna was, the wives, they felt that he was henpecked, it means that they felt completely secure. Completely secure. That Krishna will do anything for them. Like he went and got the Parijata tree for the wives. So it is very, very important for men to understand this principle also. That it is, being in a superior position also means that we are stronger and we are less vulnerable to be influenced by Maya, by nature, okay? So therefore, we should do anything which is necessary and required to make sure that our wives, they can actually behave in the proper way. Does it make sense? Or not? So the husband, you know, instead of taking advantage of this situation of the wife, the husband also acts like a servant. And now there is a nice story I read, which I was struck with this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a new married couple, came to him. And they were asking for advice, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told the husband that actually it's going to be very difficult to do your Hari Bhajan in married life, so many obstacles. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and this husband, they went to see Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. This is his biography, in the folio you can find it. So they took him to him, and Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, now he is like supremely renounced person, eating mud in the Ganges sometimes. So he said to him, this is wonderful. He said, now you should you should cook food, prasad, offer it to Krishna, and feed your wife, and eat her remnants. Okay? And then you should serve her in every way possible. So food for thought. I won't comment, I'll just repeat the story. But I would say that the principle there also is that we have, when we come to married life, as I said, we're supposed to make progress in Krishna consciousness. And making progress in Krishna consciousness is giving up this controller and enjoyer mentality. If that's what we want in a marriage, to become the controller and have a mate as a wife, then don't get married. We're getting married to nourish each other and to assist each other in Krishna consciousness, and to ultimately become freed from the bodily conception of life. And this can be only attained when we follow the principles of married life very, very nicely. And what is the result of this? The anarthas in the heart will disappear. So for a husband, for a wife, it is very important to understand, like Sukanya did, that actually this marriage situation, like Prabhupada explains, is like a fortress which is going to protect me from Maya. And if I do my duty as a husband or as a wife to the best of my ability, if I am able to compromise my expectations, my desires, for the sake of making the marriage work, I will become successful and I will become free from my desires, and I will ultimately be going back home, back to Godhead. Having that kind of conviction and acceptance, it will make things very, very successful. And then, like I said, Prabhupada in the purport, in one of the verses, is saying that Krishna was giving so much affection to his wives. And he says that Lakshmi, I'll read the purport actually just quickly, so I don't paraphrase, but let's see if I can find it. He said, this is Krishna speaking to Rukmini. My dear beautiful wife, you know that because we are householders, we're always busy in many household affairs, and long for a time when we can enjoy some joking words between us. That is our ultimate gain in household life. Now, if the wife is supposed to be a slave, like that, where is the room for this? Srila Prabhupada comments, actually householders work very hard day and night, but all fatigue of the day's labor is minimized as soon as they meet, husband and wife together, and enjoy life in many ways. Lord Krishna wanted to exhibit himself as being like an ordinary householder who delights himself by exchanging joking words with his wife. So it says, we always speak of the goddess of fortune as being placed on the chest of Narayan. So in other words, this is from elsewhere, the wife must remain embraced by her husband. Thus she becomes beloved and well protected. Just as intelligence is always within the heart, a beloved chaste wife should always have her place on the chest of a good husband. This is the proper relationship between husband and wife. A wife is therefore called Ardhangani, or half of the body. One cannot remain with only one leg, one heart, or only one side of the body. He must have two sides. So for men, it is very, very important to understand also that we need our wives. You know, it's not a burden actually. It's Krishna's gift. It's Krishna's servant being sent to us to look after for. And this is the point that Gorakishore Das Maharaj was making. That we are the servants of them. Because they are Krishna's servants, and we should assist them in every way possible. By giving her whatever they need. And when we do this, then we'll derive the ultimate benefit of the Grihastha ashram. And gradually we will become detached from each other in a proper, healthy way. You see, the problem a lot of the time is that a lot of the time men want to, they act very detached, but they're very attached internally, you know. Another time, you know, that, but what we actually want is man who may act like they're very attached, okay, but internally very detached. That's a real man. And a real man is able to provide shelter even if the wife is not acting like Sukanya. It is wrong to blame, when the man is blaming the wife because she is not submissive, she is not like that. Generally, that's not a man. A man should actually do what is required to make sure that his wife behaves in the proper way, that the wife feels protected to act in the proper way. Needless to say that there is so many different cases, so many different situations. There may be the case where the wife is not submissive, where the husband... But the general principles should be properly understood and assimilated so that we can actually apply them in our lives and be an example for the rest of the world. We were just studying about the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you know, such a eternally liberated soul, and he came and he performed the role of Agrihastha, and he executed his duties perfectly. Why? Prabhupada himself, he was also Agrihastha, and his situation wasn't favorable. And because his situation wasn't favorable, it's not that he gave it up. He remained in the Grihastha ashram for a few decades. So we have to understand that because the situation in the Grihastha ashram becomes uncomfortable, this is not an excuse for us to give the Grihastha ashram up, but it's an excuse for us, or an impetus for us to apply these principles. And when we apply these principles, then purification of heart takes place. And the real peace that we're searching for will come. But we may come into any relationship for that matter with so many expectations. And what happens when we have high expectations? We always remain dissatisfied. Always. Because there is no ideal wife, there is no ideal husband also. You know, no matter who you marry, you know, how much your percentage is of compatibility or whatever, there's going to be fights, there's going to be quarrel, there's going to be dispute also. So we should also understand this point, and Prabhupada repeatedly said this, that when a husband and wife quarrel, don't take it seriously. Just don't take it. They may shout, they may do whatever. Huh? But we should always bring it back to this. Right? We want to please Krishna. And we want to make, and you know, ultimately what the purpose of married life is to bring up Krishna conscious children. So who is the first guru? The mother. So if the mother is not submissive to the husband, what is the kid going to learn? It's going to learn to be submissive. So it's so important to follow these things. And when everything is followed nicely, then we create great progeny. And like it's being, you know, statistically proved that, you know, children that are born in stable families, they are more prone to be successful in life and to be stable and have good families. So it's a lot in Prabhupada's books in regards to the Grihastha ashram. And it's very important that we study it carefully and we read it and we contemplate it and we apply it. Because ultimately, if the movement, most of the people in this movement, they're going to become grihastas, or they are grihastas already. And we need to set the proper example. And we have the knowledge. People people don't know these things. How it works. So yes, if a woman wants to get her husband under control, serve him nicely. And the husband's heart will melt. And the husband is willing to actually give service to the wife. He is willing to provide for her. Because that also feeds his ego. Also, the ego of the man is that he wants to give protection. He wants her wife to look beautiful and to be nice and to be happy and to be protected. So these are the mechanics. And almost always work. Maybe there may be exceptions, when the husband is very unqualified or when the wife is very unqualified. But here we have a very extreme example. And even if it doesn't work in the sense that, you know, we may serve an unqualified husband, still we'll get purified. Even we serve an unqualified wife, still we get purified. Nothing to lose. But when we become bitter and we complain and we stand to blame the other person, then the problem, the Maya is already there. So many unprotected women in ISKCON, unfortunately. So many. So who is, I think it's more for the men to learn from all this than from the women, to be honest. If we look at the history of ISKCON from the 70s. But it's still, the women need to learn as well. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments or corrections? Sorry? Slow. Is the effect of Kali Yuga that? The last word I don't understand. Why these things are happening? What things? Yeah, quarrelsome. Yeah, Kali Yuga. What happens in Kali Yuga? Everything becomes deteriorated. And what is the deterioration? Deterioration of character. That's the biggest thing in Kali Yuga, both for men and both for women. So we have to make even a stronger effort, Okay? I was expecting a lot of opposition. Nice. Thank you very much for hearing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.